like to call Carlos Ramos, who's up as the Director of the Department of Technology.
Since I became state CIO, I took responsibility for a very large and diverse technology portfolio for the state of California. During my time in the office, I've focused really on three significant priorities. The first priority is safeguarding California's systems, technology systems, and the data that we collect. My second priority has been to improve California's track record around technology projects. And then finally, on the topic of innovation, my focus has also been in understanding what are the technology trends and evolutions that are happening, and how are people in their personal lives using technology to transact business, to communicate with each other, and generally to make life more convenient for themselves. Consumers bring those same expectations to government, so one of my goals has been to make California a leader in innovation and technology in the public sector. And to that end, I'd say we've been very successful. California, especially when you compare it to other states, really is a leader in innovation. In the area of using personal devices, California became the very first state in the nation to get its own mobile app store. So what we have done is we've made it easier for departments and agencies to create mobile apps to transact business with the public, and specifically in a mobile platform. We've developed templates that now allow departments to literally, in the course of either a couple of days, in some cases even a couple of hours, bring transactions and applications online in a mobile platform. In the area of using the cloud, California, again, is leading in that we're the first state to have a government cloud. California relies heavily on technology, and so it's important that we get it right. And when we don't get it right, we get a big black eye. So my focus has been leveraging the state's position as, one, the birthplace of the Silicon Valley and of technology innovation, and finding ways of improving California's track record. We do actually deliver a lot of technology very successfully, but every now and then, one of them goes off the tracks.
At the beginning of this calendar year, 2014, the Senate had its annual policy summit here in Sacramento, where we had an individual by the name of Clay Johnson, sort of a nationally recognized technology reform guru. That's the way I would put it. Speak to us, and he concluded, by and large, that it is a mistake for government to do large, expensive technology procurement RFPs. That instead what we ought to be doing is we ought to be breaking them down into smaller sizes. And again, I'm no expert here, but we ought to focus less on building hardware, if you will, mainframe systems, and instead we ought to be using much more of the personal, the PDAs, and the software to connect existing computer systems.
I can't disagree with him.
Does that mean that we won't be procuring big hardware technology projects going forward?
I don't think it does, for a couple of reasons. One is California obviously has systems and business practices that are of industrial strength and size and scope. And some of those technologies, the mobile technologies, for example, an app may work in certain aspects. Sometimes you just need big industrial strength computing power.
But when was California's last $100 million or greater mainframe tech project that was a success?
Last $100 million plus mainframe project.
I drew the line, 100 million. When was the last time we used mainframe technology, if I'm using the right terms here, for a major state IT project that has been a success?
You know, to talk about a mainframe technology specifically, I would honestly have to look at it. I'd have to go back and get back to you on that. But I can tell you the
doesn't
last...
come to mind. Doesn't
well, because
right off the...
Well, because you threw in mainframe.
Okay.
If you're talking about just a large...
I'm not trying to trick you in terms of... I'm not trying to trick you in terms of the vernacular. When was the last new system that involved...
Those I can tell you several examples.
Hardware. How's that? Right? Is that it?
How about the last large $100 million plus system that was rolled out?
Correct. Okay,
How's
thank
that?
you. That's my question.
There's several. SOMS
Okay.
is one that I just talked about, the State Offender Management System at Corrections. CMIPS, which is the Case Management Information and Payrolling System, that literally is processing payroll for several 100,000
That's
in-home
software or
service
hardware?
services. It's both. Most of these systems include both hardware
Okay.
and software. And if you look at our strategic plan, there's probably a good 6 or 7 other ones that are named in there. But, Senator, California really does deliver technology systems. You just don't hear about the successful ones.
Kim Kardashian has 20.6 million Twitter followers. Why, you ask? Why? But I mean, I don't know. That means 20.6 million people out there have the ability to intersect and interact with one another, on one sort of existing platform. And so, we look at the number of state employees, the number of people who are seeking to access health care. We look at all these differences. It just makes you wonder whether or not this old way of doing it, even with all of the changes you're making and the protections and the accountability and all that you're building in, is maybe missing the point here. And I understand you say that with large projects, we need singular infrastructure, if you will. You need that hardware. But then I look at that number, 20.6 million. Kim, I don't know about Chloe, by the way. We did not research that, or Justin Bieber, or anybody else. But I'm just saying, there are a lot of people interacting out there on a cloud, and apparently pretty well.
We actually do use those sorts of technologies. It's just that, Twitter may not be necessarily the platform to deliver payroll.
I'm not saying that it is. It was for sake of example.